Hello, I greet you folks from the bottom of my heart. I am Citizen Jones Osen. Welcome to another program in the series, Homo Politicus. It's a flagship show on Enterprise TV. We tackle any issue that gets thrown up by my country, your country. So let's go. Today, Atiku, Governor Zulum, lead northern assault on President Tinubu'S tax reform bills. So lack of consensus among political elite brimming. You know, in a broad sense, a consensus simply means changing things around after a proposal is debated. It's not just about an agreement. And the late South Africa-born Israeli politician and diplomat Abba Eban put it succinctly when he said, quote, "A consensus means that everyone agrees to say collectively what no one believes individually," end quote. I hope that's clear. Now, the news that former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Governor Professor Babagana Zulum of Borno State are leading the assault on President Bola Tinubu's proposed 4 tax reform bills at the National Assembly should not come as a surprise to lovers of democracy. Now, the said bills have scaled the second reading at the Red Chamber, that is the Senate. Whereas Borno Governor Professor Zulum voiced strong concerns over the proposed bills, warning it could have devastating consequences for the northern region, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar reflected that a tax regime that ensures fairness and equity without deepening the disparities in development among Nigeria's federating units should be the watchword. Now, to think that these two positions are coming from supposed Democrats is a matter for deep regret, especially in a 21st century world which harps on a knowledge economy. Again, after 64 years of independence, still talking about a checkered north-south politics in our country is regrettable. Shall we have a conversation, please? My two conversationalists are familiar to you. The one is Chartered Accountant and National Affairs Analyst Tumi Olowe. Brother Tumi, I greet you. Welcome.
Good morning, Citizen Jones.
All right then. Tumi will be joined by the journalist and political commentator Emeka Madunagu, who should join us any moment now. Yet, Tumi, how do you open your perspectives on this?
Well, I think we're in very interesting area in the country. And I think it's also good that we're having these discussions. You know, over time, before now, we've been mounting restructuring. So it's good that everybody that has been mounting restructuring are having a stake related to this tax bill. So we'll really see if we really work restructuring or it was just another soundbite. So, of course, everybody would have their say. And then the process of making the law will also go on. Now, I'll cast our mind back to when Atiku was Vice President of Nigeria during President Obasanjo's regime. And President Obasanjo then wanted to change the constitution to allow for a third term. Yeah, there was discussion all over the place.
Yeah, to me, but he has dismissed that. He has since dismissed that position.
But we were all in this country when that was being discussed. That bill was being discussed.
Okay.
In the National Assembly.
Yeah, okay. So, I remember Senator Ken Namani. He spilled the beans, right? Go on.
So what I'm trying to say is,
yeah,
there will be discussion, and then the bill will be attended to by the representative of the people in the organization, in the organ of government that makes laws. Now, if you have any concern, you will call your representatives and make your
position known. Yeah.
Get their position known to them. And then they will go ahead and, but you see, the way it's looking to me is as if some people want to truncate that process. And it was unfortunate that we could be relaying the fact that the Petroleum Industry Bill took 20 years. That was the great service to citizens of this country. It should not even have been referenced at all. Now, back to this tax reform bill. When this present administration came in last year, I think by July, one of the first things to inaugurate a committee headed by his name just skipped my head now.
Okay.
And then immediately the committee, this tax reform committee, went into action. And they engaged stakeholders across board. The Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee had engagement with different sectors of the economy. I attended the tax practitioners, legal and accounting firms, professional bodies. And that was December last year. And I think it was more than 2, 3, or 4 hours of engagement of them taking us through their thoughts and also asking for people to send in their own position papers.
Okay, that is if there were gray areas.
Yes. So they asked all the sectors, as in they had CEOs, multinationals, fintechs, they had trade associations, they met with oil and gas, they met with transporters, they met with people living with disability, they met with Nigerian diasporas, they met with students. It was
just say to me, just say you met with a cross section of the Nigerian society.
Of the Nigerian society.
Yeah.
Now, when the draft bill was now ready, they had another series of engagements. So the exposure bill was there for people to go through. And if you have issues like we are now having, to come up with your own position, not a blanket, just throw everything away. Now, what is even the contentious issue in this reform bill? It is the VAT part of it. And if you remember, like 2 years ago, thereabout, Lagos State government and Rivers State government, the federal government to come to VAT, and they're still in court.
Okay.
What the VAT portion of this has said is that derivation will be used to now share that. And as it is now, Lagos State takes a huge percentage of that because the derivation bill favors Lagos State. But VAT is a consumption tax.
Okay.
And they are now saying that 60% of the VAT revenue generated from a particular state will stay in that state. So what it means is if there are no consumption create an enabling environment in your state so that there will be more consumption, you will get more. You will get 60%, at least 60% of the VAT generated from your state. I don't see why that should be a problem.
Yeah.
So, of course, we will have different views and positions on things. Now, the bill has passed the first and second readings, National Assembly or at the Senate, and it has now gone to the committee level. So, at the committee level, what happens is that there will be public engagement, there will be public debate. They will call people in to come and discuss the bill at the National Assembly. And at that place, you can make representation and tell them that, look, this section does not favor us. This is our own suggestion. And all this will be taken in by that committee, who will now present their findings in the form of the final draft to the plenary session at the National Assembly, and during the third reading, if it is agreeable to them, it will be put to vote and it will be passed to a law pending the sign off by the president.
Yeah.
For me, all these, but there are processes to these things, and the process has not ended yet. Anybody that has a dissenting view should go to the public sitting at the committee level of the National Assembly and make their views known.
All right, to me. Yeah.
That's why we have people like National Assembly.
Okay, to me, let's welcome Emeka Madonagu. Formerly, Emeka is a journalist and political commentator. Emeka, welcome.
Hello.
Yeah. So you are familiar with the story.
Very well. Very well.
I noted that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and Governor Zulum of Borno State are leading what you might ordinarily refer to as a northern assault on President Tinubu'S tax reform bills at the National Assembly.
Yeah, okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, my pleasure to be here. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's why we're a federation. In a large family, we can't all sleep, facing one direction. And it's also necessary that you ventilate views, public views. You hear from all sides to the matter, so that, in taking any decision, it can be said to be binding on us. That's why, for instance, you see the Constitution. People say, the 999 Constitution is a fraudulent Constitution. Because why? It purports in the preamble, that we, the people of Nigeria. And there was nothing like that. There was no plebiscite, there was no referendum, there was no, nothing by the way of saying, okay, Nigerians, this is what we want to present. What do you think about it? Yeah. Now, thankfully, we have a National Assembly, although their performance has not been, has not given much for people to, to inspire confidence. Yeah. So that's why, you see the idea, you can see the reactions to the tax reform bills. There are areas that people have ample reason
misgivings.
Yes. For instance, for instance, when you talk about the most contentious is the VAT, is the issue of VAT. And why was VAT introduced in 1996? VAT was introduced in 1996 just to ensure more revenue for states. But sadly, you see, the state governors have not elevated the discourse. They have always sat back, and enjoyed this feeding bottle federalism. So they've not come to the point to say, okay, federal government, can we have a conversation? Can we open a conversation with the National Assembly, and then the executive to say, okay, at the federal government, to say, okay, we need more, revenue. In talking holistically about the revenue allocation, table, can we look at sources where, certain areas, we duplicate functions, where we have multiple taxation? Can we look at all those things so that we can have a more balanced tax administration system in the country? Of course, but what I find offensive is the way some people, supporters of President Bola Tinubu have been throwing out comments, offensive commentary. You are lazy. You people, you gonna die. You can, that you will know. This, that, and the other. I even had to challenge one yesterday. He said, if you think your factories are illegal, you can take them away. I asked him, will you employ the people? If they take those factories away, will you employ the people? I said, this kind of attitude is wrong.
We'll soon go back to me Olowe. To me, I hope you are ready for us. But are you not surprised that supposed Democrats and leaders of thought like Professor Babagada Zulum and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar are leading a so-called northern assault.
What's wrong with that?
No. But making it a north-south divide thing is not healthy for us.
Why?
That's my argument.
Why is it not? What is wrong with it?
Why must we be? No. The Americans, hold on. The Americans don't talk about.
We are not Americans. You see,
Americans, hold on. We copied democracy from their style of democracy. Yes. At least not the British type, which is a parliamentary.
Okay, then.
So if a tax reform bill, or in this case bills, it is a reform which they are open to debates. So now when Professor Zulum is telling you and I that the tax regime will favor Lagos State alone and would be even the southwest will lose out except Lagos. Are we talking about an informed standpoint?
Like I say, in a democracy, you have some countries where you have the raving, loony left, people who propose, who propound extremist views.
How do you characterize our own?
I'm going there.
Go there, yeah.
I'm going there. We took the American system, yes. But you know what? We have our peculiarities. And whether you like it or not, there are certain, we have northern Nigeria, we have southern Nigeria. We have certain things that define our type of politics.
Emeka, hadn't we better talk about the 6 geopolitical zones?
Why are we pretending about this?
6 geopolitical zones.
The argument, this way and that, whether it's 6 geopolitical zones, whether it's north and south, whether it's east and west, the point is this. Can we just allow people ventilate their views? Then we can gradually, as the conversation progresses, we can then remove the extremist sides, these disagreeable points, and then we come to a decision. We can disagree, but we don't remain disagreeable. But you see, it's better for people to speak up and not pretend. This is a democracy. And one of the tenets of democracy is freedom of speech, the right to free expression. Let people vote. Whether they say they are talking for the north, or they are talking for the south, or they are talking, let them speak.
For the left or right?
Let them speak. Okay. Now, when they finish speaking, like to me, I had to say, there will be public hearings. Then, by the time we go there, of course, one of the beautiful things about American democracy, which incidentally we did not copy, was the lobbying aspect. Lobbying. Otherwise today in America they have a lobbying act. We will have lobbyists. So it's okay. This is the issue. When after all the filibustering, after all the public debates, then the lobbyists will go to work. Behind the scenes, the governors meeting with the members of the National Assembly. You look this way, you look this way, you look this way, you look this way, and then before the public hearing, at least certain positions would have been ironed out. Then we can now move forward to committee stage and then final debate.
Yeah,
okay. How democracy works.
Okay. I think Tumi Olowe is ready for us. Tumi, once again, thank you for understanding and exercising restraint. Thank you. Are you there, Tumi? Okay, I'm struggling. I'm fighting to hear you. But how do you react to Emeka's reference to the VAT regime? I'm still fighting to hear you, Tumi.
Better now.
Yeah, a lot better now. So quickly from the top, Emeka touched briefly on the VAT regime. Of course, tie that to the fact that Governor Zulum, who himself is the former head of a polytechnic, otherwise a teacher, a knowledgeable Nigerian. He says the bill's provision, such as the allocation of 60% of VAT to Lagos, would have determinal effect on the country. What's your perspective on this?
No, but that is a wrong position. What the new law is saying is that before they were using 20% revision to share, and that means 20% of what is consumed or generated in your state is given to you, apart from the other sharing. But they now say that 60% of what is generated in the state will stay in the state. And a comparison of what is being earned now under VAT and what will be earned under the has been made, and they are sure that it will be better for every other state under the new law. I mean, Lagos State is going from like 80% down to 15%. Now, unless a state is saying that we will not generate enough, so that 60% will not make any sense. Apart from that, under the old sharing formula, the federal government takes 15% of VAT generated. But now it's for going 5%, it will take 10%. The 5% is to ensure that if there is any shortfall for any state, they will be compensated from that 5%. And from the analysis that has been made, a whole lot of states are even earning more than what they were earning before. And like I said earlier, the committee stage of the process of passing the bill is there. Okay. Anybody that has a contrary opinion to what the bill is saying can go there and send their
and vent, yeah.
So I don't understand why we want to truncate the process because we think it is not favoring us.
Okay, to me, just a minute. Emeka does not see anything wrong with the North-South divide. 64 years after our independence, we're still talking in terms of North, East, West, and South.
Because you see, unfortunately, that's our reality.
That is
we have used this.
It is our reality, but is it healthy? Is it healthy? That's the argument.
No, it's not. And I'm saying that those are the things we hide behind. He's a Christian, he's a Muslim, he's from the North, he's from the South. Look, we are looking for a country where everybody would have an opportunity to make it in life. And where you are from, or the religion that you practice, because it is not a foundational reason where if you are going to make it in life or not. You are not going to be brilliant because you are a Christian or because you are a Muslim. You are going to be brilliant because you pay attention to your studies and you give what is needed. You read, you attend classes, you do research. That's what is going to make you brilliant.
Yeah.
It's not a function of whether you are Ghana or a Northerner or a Christian or a Muslim. But our political elites know that it is easy to divide the masses using these rhetorics.
Yeah.
That's what they are doing. So far so good.
Yeah.
We've seen quite a number of people from the North also supporting the bill.
Okay. Okay. To me, I talked also about like a lack of consensus. You know, if 64 years after, some might say it's a flag and anthem independence. 64 years after this flag and anthem independence, we are still in the classroom. It is said our democracy is still in its formative stage. Emeka, so when would we leave the classroom?
We will get
just a minute. To me, hold on a minute.
We will get there. Rome was not built in a day. You see, that is why in every society, you know, you need to have people who are sufficiently educated, exposed, enlightened, sophisticated, you know, who are tempered, who are, but that's why you also need elder statesmen and women. You need people, who can come out and, be the moderating voices. People that, if you think people will not canvass north, south, east, and west positions, that will be asking for the moon on a platter. But The but there is, you see, let's have, moderating voices. That's okay, gentlemen, can we look beyond north, south, east, and west? Can we look at the interests of Nigeria? The fact that, okay, you are from, let's say, Borno State, shouldn't really count in terms of, your being able to access opportunities offered by Nigeria. The fact that you are from wherever, let us work to put more resources into the Nigerian pool, and then let us work out, a formula,
that
to make sure that it reaches to everybody. Now, it's those moderating voices that will, now temper the extremist voices.
I want to share the perspectives of Professor Babagana Zulum, Borno State government. He says, let me quote him, there are some rhetoric that the North destroys alcohol, so they should not benefit from the tax coming from it. My point is, let us have a wider consultation on it. Why are we in a rush? Is it right that we call on the legislators? It is right that we call on our legislators to kick against any attempt to subchange us.
Good. They have a right to say in their states, we don't want alcohol. But the question I always ask is this. Alcohol is not the only thing being produced by breweries. They produce malt, they produce other drinks, energy drinks and all of that. And these things are being sold. Now, if you are bringing alcohol into the mix...
But you hear that the police, the Hizbah say in Kano, would destroy bottles, hundreds of bottles of alcohol, and so on. But they still want to share VAT.
Alcohol is not the only thing from which VAT is earned. It's not the only thing. There are other drinks, there are other things. But the thing is that, you see, these things will be presented, at debate stage, at public hearing stage. That, okay, look at, you are going to be missing out at this or this. But the point is this, make it clear that in lawmaking, you see, one of the problems we have in Nigeria is this. We don't want to look at the issue in the face and speak the truth. Now that the issue of destruction of alcoholic content has come up, let it be put clearly to those states doing that. Well, right, you're within your rights to say you don't want alcohol. But listen, these are the consequences. In Nigeria, let's now begin to make sure that let people know that actions have consequences.
Let Tuni weigh in on this. Tuni, come in here. Yeah.
Yes. It's still part of modeling the water. That was what Professor Zulum by bringing up that alcohol issue. Now, what is the percentage contribution of alcohol consumption, VAT from alcohol consumption, in the total VAT collected in Nigeria? It is not up to 3%.
Interestingly,
the contribution of alcohol, VAT from alcohol, to the total VAT collection in Nigeria is up to 3%. But you see, when we want to scatter things, we would use all those things. Something that is up to 3% is not a problem. And they have a right to not consume alcohol in their states.
Right.
But you see, with this derivation, we are saying that because, like I said earlier, VAT is a consumption tax. It means that VAT is generated from the activity of consumption in a locality. And the new law says 60% of that will be retained in that state. So if you are saying that alcohol does not account for more than 3%, not up to 3% of VAT generated, it shouldn't be a problem.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree.
So why would the governor express such a sentiment at a time like this?
No.
Because, like I said, the politicians know how to create talking points.
It is called theatrics. Yeah.
That's basically
what's politics without theatrics?
when we get pictures of gearbox is being destroyed by IFA. They don't swim there. They are not.
Bring the beer to the south.
So the thing is, we are saying they make telephone calls in the north. They do banking transactions.
Yeah, true.
On these services. And there are records with the telecom companies, with the banking companies, of the amount of transaction services that they bring that have been consumed and that local.
All right.
And you know that.
Okay, to me.
So you say that is based on derivation.
Okay,
so,
all right.
Encourage consumption in your state.
Simple.
Yeah. To me, we want to wrap the conversation up, but let me drop this line. I hope it makes meaning to you. A tax reform bill is a bill. It is to reform the system of collecting tax. And in Nigeria, when you have more than a paragraph or two of an item, we don't have the patience to read the things through before we make comments. It's another problem here to me. How do you take this home?
You see, it might be governors, it might be technical for a lot of people to understand or we have that's the understanding of what the tax bill is saying. So that's why you'll be advised. For those that are living outside of this country, when you want to file your tax return, you'll be advised to consult with the professionals so that you don't make mistakes. So I would have expected that when Governor Zulum was speaking, his Commissioner of Finance and his head of Borno State Internal Revenue Service are with him. You understand?
Yeah.
Those are the subject matter experts that will break it down for him. We are talking about tax, we are talking about tax laws. There are technicalities about it. So you can pick it up and read it and not fully have an understanding of it.
Yeah.
And what the reform committee did was they had meetings with all the head of tax bodies or the taxing states and
all stakeholders.
the people that would have the people that will have the proper understanding
Technical knowledge, yes.
what we are talking. It is them that will now make it. So why do companies say tax consultants? Is it that they don't have very able people in the organization? No. You will go to the people that fully understand. I will not go and explain myself.
Understand the dynamics, yeah.
Because I want to be careful that I don't want to do so.
Yeah.
So I won't take a lawyer to break it for me. I have an opinion of my claims, but the lawyer will help to present it to the judge so that we will get what we are looking for. It's the same thing with this tax matter. Most of the people talking about, even when Ndube was talking about, Ndube said he has not read, and it was a service to all of us in Nigeria. They took the common man and tell us that the bill is dead on arrival, despite the fact that he does not even understand what he was talking about.
Yeah.
By his own admission. I mean.
He said he had not read it.
Does he need to read it?
No. Emeka, as a federal lawmaker, you need to understand the dynamics.
I know.
Dynamics of any
land.
To me, I take it you have landed. Thank you to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm heading somewhere. The National Assembly has a bureaucracy. Every lawmaker, senator, or rep has staff attached to them, paid from the National Treasury. So Ndube ought to have such aides who would have read and broken it down for him in bullet points so that it will be easy to understand.
So whose problem is it now?
What I'm also if you get my drift, I'm castigating Ndube. I'm not praising him. So allow me to flow. I'm castigating Ndube. that it's shameful. I've been to the U.S. Congress, and I interviewed a congressman, and I saw the rating of aids in the house, books, library, and everything. So on any issue, you get your aides to break it down for you. So the thing is this, like many things in Nigeria, when you have some of these comments, they come from ignorance. The same thing happened with cryptocurrencies. With cryptocurrencies, when Vice President Yemi Osinbajo then was telling the central bank governor, go after this matter with knowledge, not with fear or ignorance. But generally, when people speak, especially the elite, they don't have time to read. How many of them read anything? How many of them? That's why you see some laws, they just go quickly past. That's why they passed the Cybercrime Act, the amendment, without even reading it. And then people began to pick loopholes. They now have to rush again, reward it, and pass it again. The same thing they did with the NDIC Act under former President Muhammadu Buhari. They passed the amendment, Buhari signed it, they took it again, adjusted it again, and
it's a major, a critical problem, especially at this point.
It's a big problem. It's a big problem, and I wish there were, counter voices that told Ndume that is a shame that a senator like you would come to say you have not read something and you are purporting
Emeka, but Senator, former Kaduna Senator, the
Sani
Shehu Sani, had carpeted Ndume.
It's good. But Shehu Sani should also, somebody like him, should possibly set up a kind of think tank to help some of his colleagues, in the National Assembly, to say, okay, look on this issue. Please be rightly guided on this and that. That's a lot of work.
Okay.
But it should do the work, as a non-governmental individual, to help, because it's sad. It's sad.
And stereotyping does not help in this matter at all.
No,
either. To me, we want, all of us here want to thank you for your perspectives. Thank you very much. Did you hear that? Okay then.
Thanks for having me.
Until the next time. Emeka, we cannot thank you enough. Well, the debate will continue. As I just mentioned, a lot of stereotyping will not help us at this point in time. A tax reform, please underline the word reform, a tax reform bill is sent to a National Assembly, which is where laws are made for the country. If you are picking holes with them, not to worry, consult your representative either at the Green Chamber, that's the House of Reps, or the Red Chamber, the Senate. And in a 21st century world, the phrase is knowledge economy. We must all be knowledgeable. Well, I'm out of here. One more time, Emeka Badonago, thank you for coming. To me, Olawe, thank you for coming. All right then. So, bye-bye now. I'm Citizen Jones.